Hello, and welcome to a short episode of the Capital Gains Tax Solutions podcast, where we believe most high net worth individuals and those who help them, they struggle with clarifying their capital gains tax deferral options. Not having a clear plan is the enemy, and using a proven tax deferral strategy, such as the Deferred Sales Trust, is the best way for you to defer millions of dollars of capital gains tax on the sale of any highly appreciated cryptocurrency, business, or real estate, so you can create and preserve more wealth. In this episode, we're talking about the eighth wonder of the world and the Deferred Sales Trust. And so, the great Albert Einstein once said, "Compound interest is the eighth wonder of the world. He who understands it earns it. He who doesn't pays it." And it's such a true statement, right? And that compounding interest can make millionaires out of us. It can also, on the other side, if we're in too much debt, it can consume us. And so we have to be very, very aware of the math and behind compounding interest. And the one thing we can't ever get back, which is time. And time is the thing that the Deferred Sales Trust gives you as an investor and as a taxpayer who owes interest, should you owe interest to the government on something that you're selling. But here's the cool thing about the Deferred Sales Trust. You don't owe any interest, okay? As long as you're below certain marks, which are about 5 million per person per year. And as long as your deal is below those amounts, if you're a married couple, you can get 10 million per year, or you can stagger deals between two different years. In case like 2022, right now we're in. If you did a deal at 5 million, you could also do one in 2023 at 5 million. Or if you're a married couple, you could do 10 and 10 in each year. Now, if you have a larger deal, like we're working on a big NFT deal right now, which is about $200 million, it's a single individual. He's actually married, but for him, he could do something called a DST plus, which is above and beyond the DST 1.0. But back to the overall theme of compounding interest, the idea is if I could give you a loan, let's say at 0%, when would you want to pay that loan back? And I could probably answer for it right now. The answer is the second date of never. And the reason is if you can go use that money to earn other interest from other investments and live off that interest, you get the law of compounding interest on both sides of things. On one side, you have 0%, so nothing compounding on the debt side. On the other side, you're able to live off of the interest. Well, that is what the Deferred Sales Trust allows you to do. The IRS is charging you 0%, okay, on what you owe to them. The only time you get paid tax or you actually pay anything to the IRS is as you receive payments back. Now, if you dip into that principal, like we just did a deal for a client, she did the $5 million. She was a single individual, and she sold Bitcoin for $5 million. Had essentially a very low basis, around $50,000, or really even lower than that, and she had a huge gain. And so she said, "What's the max I could do in this year?" We said 5 million. Now she did that $5 million for that deal, and now that amount is building up for her. She also could have done more as well, and used the DST 2.0, back to my original point, but she didn't want to pull it all out of the Bitcoin market, and so we did 5 million. She's deferring about 1.5 million of tax, and she's using that to go start a business venture with her business partner. But the cool thing is that 0% interest, okay, is what she's being charged. Now, on the other side, the trust owes her back 8% compounding, okay, over a 10-year period, of which she'll be taking some payments out slowly, paying some tax on that. And that's building and building and building. And part of how we define winning with the Deferred Sales Trust is using the law of compounding interest. And most of our clients will structure the note with about a 5 to 6% payout, and then let the additional amount kind of build up, so they have a little cushion there between what's owed to them at 8%, and they typically aren't dipping into the principal very often or at all. And then every 10 years there's a balloon payment that's due, but then they renew it. And so the goal is to live off about 5 to 8% or so over those 10-year period of time on the full amount of, in this scenario, it'd be 5 million for the client who would have paid 1.5 million of tax. So that 1.5 million is at 0%. The 5 million's at the 8%. They're living off 5 to 8% of that 5 million. Then at the end of 10 years, the same amount is still there. Okay, and that's the beauty and the law of compounding interest. And that's why the eighth wonder of the world and the Deferred Sales Trust is connected there. All that being said, the deferred sales trust may or may not be for you or one of your partners or certain deals. We want to make sure that we totally understand where you're coming from, what you're trying to accomplish, what your needs are, what your wants are, what your desires are. We're going to be coming out with a few other videos coming up about why the deferred sales trust, why not the deferred sales trust, and figuring out, or maybe some other strategy like an opportunity zone or Delaware Statutory Trust or traditional 1031 exchange or charitable remainder trust. So we're looking for some of those videos that are coming out. But if you want to take action right now, I want to invite you to a few opportunities. You can go to capitalgainstaxsolutions.com right now. You can download our free ebook, Selling Real Estate Business or Cryptocurrency Smarter. It's about 30 pages, and it's a great read, and you'll get a chance to dive in about the steps that you would need to take to get your deferred sales trust transaction going. That's totally free. We also have another our mastermind, which is totally free as well. Happens 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time every Friday. You can also go to capitalgainstaxsolutions.com to register for that, and 1 p.m. Eastern Time every Friday. So it's one mastermind every week. So check that out. Go to capitalgainstaxsolutions.com. And of course, if you have a deal that's at least $1 million net proceeds, $1 million gain, you can also schedule a free consultation with myself or one of my team members to dive into your situation and to see if the deferred sales trust could be a good fit. Hey, please rate, review, subscribe. Please share this with somebody it could help. We so appreciate everyone out there listening.